Guys, welcome to the Florida Treasure Coast Market Update. Today we're going to talk about some pools, and I've got some crazy numbers.
You better get fired up.
My peeps, what's going on? Today we're going to talk about pools. I looked up a statistic this morning that blew my mind. I was going to go in a different direction with this video, but I looked up this stat and it blew my mind. And I thought, I've got to share this with people. There's another half to this stat I have not looked up yet, and we're going to look it up together for me the first time. But I want to pull it up here in just a second. Let's see. Let's do share. Okay, so you guys right now can see the MLS, right? This is the tool that we use as realtors to put homes on and sell those homes. And we also use as buyer agents to look up homes for our buyers, right? So when you see properties on Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor, eXp Realty, Keller Williams, Remax, whatever it is, they're coming from an IDX feed, which is the fancy terminology, or maybe not so fancy, for a direct feed, right? From this, the source, the MLS. So this has got the base data, the source data for everything you're going to look up as a professional in this industry. So what I want to show you guys is the difference in asking price between single family homes with pools and single family homes without pools in Port St. Lucie. I know from experience that when you look up the median sales price per square foot, and then you multiply it by the average sales or the average square footage in Port St. Lucie, a pool, depending upon the market and a bunch of different things, and is around $40,000 to $55,000 in added value, right? $40,000 to $50,000 in added value. That's what a typical average pool will give you. Some will be 30, some will be 70, but typically you're looking at 40 to 55, right? Let's go look at these numbers. The difference in average asking price for a pool home versus a non-pool home. So we got Port St. Lucie, and we're going to come to type. I want to get rid of like condos and townhouses and that kind of stuff. So we got single family homes, and we got 1537 that are currently active, right? So I'm going to come down here to private pool. No, let's start with no first. And you can see we got 1,148 sales. So I'm going to come over to CMA. And now I'm going to do a little bit of wizardry nerdery. And I'm going to hit view, and you can see right here, we got 488, 349. Okay, I had 488, 207. So we've had a home pop on the market or sell or whatever, but roughly the same, right? 488 something is what a non-pool home on average is asking in Port St. Lucie. Very interesting. Okay, so now I don't know if you could see that the way I've got this set up, but anyway, it was 48. All right, so let's go back now. And yes, private pool. So now with private pools asking, we got 389 options. So I'm going to do a CMA again. This is where you may or may not be able to see this. I think you can see this right now, but once my actual data screen pops up, you might lose it. But whatever, I'll share it with you. So now it's 647. 647 is the average ask price of a home with a pool. When I pulled the data literally minutes ago, it was 648, 340. So it's virtually the same thing. When you look at the difference in those two numbers, it's $160,000. $160,000. Now, I will say, typically people who have the money to purchase a pool have the money to get chrome molding and bigger homes and 3-stall garages and bigger lots and things that cost more money. Makes complete sense. But usually, again, that's to the tune of, the value of the pool, say $40,000 to $55,000, plus another maybe $20,000, $30,000. So let's say 25 plus 50, you're looking at $75,000. I would have expected a difference of about $75,000, but we're looking at 160. Now that's asking. So that's the thing I had just looked up. Now what I want to go do is the same exact data pull, but on closed homes in the last 60 days. And let's see what we got. And I don't know what this looks like. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what this looks like. So we're going to go closed 60 days. I'm not going to go see. I'm going to go back to the beginning of December. I'm not going to do the math. I'm getting lazy here. So there we go. We got 30. I'm not lazy. It's 62 days. Trying to be lazy. Okay. So we got 101 sales. Well, let's start with no private pool. So we had 422 sales in the last 2 months, December and January, without a pool in Port St. Lucie. What was now again the average ask price was 488 or 487. I forget what the updated one. That was my data from 30 minutes ago. I'm expecting sold data. Sold data is almost always lower. I'm guessing sold data is going to be 475, 480, something like that. 416,302. I'm not even going to give my analysis yet. 416,302. It is $72,000 lower sold price compared to asking price. Okay, so now let's come back and we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to look for a private pool. Yes, we got 101. Bum, bum, bum. Let's go see what that sales price was. Let's hit that guy right there and this guy right here. And it's 543, 133. Okay, so that difference right there is, how do I do that? There we go. That difference is 543 minus 416 is $127,000 different, not 160. But look at what's actually selling compared to what is being asked. And no, I'm not seeing homes asking 488 and selling for 416. I'm not seeing homes asking 648 and selling for 543. We're not seeing that. We're seeing homes sell for right around 98% of asking price, 97% of asking price. So don't think that, oh my God, I can go and get a home right now for $70,000, $80,000 off. You can't. That's just not what we're seeing right now as being typical, or even 5% of the time in this market. We're just not seeing that. What my assumption is there's a lot of people with their head in the clouds from 2 to 4 years ago. And they're thinking prices went up so much, I can get this astronomical price and I know it's going to happen. So we're getting a lot of people sitting on the market with homes that are overpriced and they're not getting showings, or if they're getting showings, they're not getting offers, or if they're getting offers, the offers are not close enough to the asking price for the seller to say yes. That's what I'm seeing in this market. So I just put a post up on Facebook, and the post essentially showed that when you look at 600,000 plus, right, price tag of 600,000 plus, you're looking at, well, let me go look it up because I don't want to make up data. And this data is probably about 45 to 60 minutes old, right? But when you're looking at $600,000 plus single family homes in Port St. Lucie, there are 310 currently for sale. We're not talking about pools anymore. We're talking about just 600,000 plus. 310 for sale. When I look at how many had sold in the last 45 days, it was 28. So when you think about that, oh man, now I got to do math. Why do I put myself into this? That's about what, 18, a little over 18 sales of the 600,000 plus homes every 30 days. We've got 498 days of inventory in that price point, 16 and a half months. So I'm going to read you verbatim what I wrote on Facebook. Sellers are finding that overpricing, understaging, and selling yourself, which there's a bunch of other issues, but those are some of the bigger ones. It's incredibly challenging. Those successfully selling are hitting on all cylinders, and it's true. They're not able to skimp on some of these things. You have to go at market price on day one. A lot of people say, let's start 30 grand high, 60 grand high, whatever it is. This is not the market for them. By the time you come down to the price that we told you on day one, it's just not happening at that price point in this market. You've got to have an attractive commission payout. I realize I'm a realtor, so I like getting paid, but at the end of the day, regardless of how much you want to save on your realtor, that is a tool. Your commission payout is a tool that attracts other agents. If it's low, how many agents are you going to attract, right? If it's high, how many are you going to attract? And a lot of buyers agents are working with buyers in what's called a buyer representation agreement that says, I will be paid X if you're going to work with me, right? So if that number isn't that, and they've disclosed it to the buyer, and the buyer said, hey, only show me properties that are paying you that commission or higher, you might not get the showings. Or you might get the showings, but, and I'm seeing it increasingly, you're going to have buyer reps. And again, they got to disclose it to the buyer. The buyer has to agree to this. asking the listing agent for more in commission, or they're just not going to bring them an offer, or they're going to bring them an offer less that commission. So that commission payout is a sales tool, right? Another part of it is beautifully staged. A lot of people just vacant. That's a little bit tougher to sell. Or they've got their gigantic L-shaped couch cutting off the walkway to the slider door that goes out back. That doesn't show well, right? Is it inconvenient? Is it a pain in the butt? Absolutely. But my question to those folks is also, hey, if you do the inconvenient thing and you get your property staged beautifully and it's tough to maintain it and it's not the way you like to live in it, but you're able to sell in a month, 2 months, 3 months, and you're able to get 10, 20, $30,000 more, would it be worth it? Or would you pay 10 to $30,000 more if I offered it to be able to live in the convenience of whatever your home is currently staged in? But again, it's going to cost you 10 to $30,000. Just about everybody says, I'm not blowing 10 to 30 grand on that. Are you kidding me? But a lot of people don't want to do the work to stage their home property properly. Or you've got a listing agent who just isn't telling you this, right? That is incredibly important. Presented wonderfully online. Now, there's a slew of things you need to do there. I'd say professional photography is huge. All the information that me as a listing agent is giving the buyer's agents when it comes to documents and what's going on with your HOA, what are the upgrades that a buyer's agent may not know about, all these different things. That presentation is huge, right? Proven marketing, how your realtor markets you is huge. Ask them, what are you doing? I don't care if it's your niece, your sister, your mom. They owe you. This is a huge, huge, huge sale, right? You're not selling a box of pens. It's a big deal. Ask them, what are you doing? How do you know it works? Where's the data? And then an experienced agent who aggressively picks up the phone and seeks out buyers. We're just not seeing a lot of that. In fact, right now, I'm talking with a lot of agents who sold maybe 20, 30, 40 homes a year over the last couple of years, and now they're struggling big time. And when I ask them what they're doing to get in front of people and have conversations about real estate, they'll say nothing. I'm hoping for referrals. I'm hoping my phone picks up or rings. And that's just not cutting it anymore. So from a realtor standpoint, from a business standpoint, you got to pick up the phone. You got to be aggressive. But the way I look at it is if I've got a seller, a home seller who's got this massive asset that is 300,000, 500,000, $1 million plus, and it's probably the biggest asset they've got, it is my duty to them to pick up the phone and aggressively look for people for them. That's my job. That's what they trust me to do. So I think it's such a big deal, and we're just not seeing it. Well, I don't think we saw it in the past either, but I don't think people knew because the market was so hot. They would still sell. They could have sold for more if you had aggressive agents, but they still sold, right? Now they're just not selling. You've got to be hitting on all those cylinders. So I don't say this to scare anybody. I say it because if you're serious and you're in that price point and you're wanting to sell, I want you to know you've got to be realistic. You got to do all the right things. You want to talk with a professional. Of course, I would love your business, but if you're not going to give me the business, give it to somebody who's experienced. Give it to somebody who's got a great resume. Give it to somebody who's got the confidence to show you what it is they do to set themselves apart, right? Now, there's all the challenging news. The good news is if you're a buyer, man, you've got loads of inventory to go look at, and the odds that you're going to be in a multiple offer situation is pretty dang low, which I think a lot of buyers can appreciate, right? So, we were seeing people having to rush into situations 2, 3, 4 years ago. We're not seeing that anymore. We're seeing, people wanting to get the AC repaired or wanting to get the roof repaired or wanting to get whatever done to get the home in decent condition before they purchase it and live in it. And 2, 3, 4 years ago, you couldn't negotiate any of that. You'd lose the deal. The seller go find another buyer. Now you can do that. So there's a lot of great things for buyers set up to make it better. And that's, the phenomenal news. So there's a silver lining in every single market. I sold in 2008. I'm not saying this is anything like 2008, but I sold in 2008 when you're pretty much looking at the worst market I'll probably ever see in my life. And there were silver linings there. If you were an intelligent, savvy saver, I had a lot of people in their 20s and 30s. That was the beginning of their investment career. They took the cash that they had saved up hard for 20, 30 grand, whatever it was, 10 grand. And they went and found themselves an investment property, and they found it at a steal. And there were a lot of people who were going bankrupt or went into foreclosure, short sale, whatever it was. And maybe they lost their $250,000 a year job, and now they got a $150,000 a year job, and they still got pretty solid income. They can still rent from you, but they don't have the credit to be able to purchase a home, and they won't be able to for years. So now these savvy savers got an investment property. They got the person in there to rent from them. It was a solid renter, and everybody's happy, right? So even in the worst of conditions, if you've got the mindset of, hey, there's a silver lining, you'll find it. And if you've got the mindset of this market sucks, rates are too high, prices are too high, I will never sell my home. I mean, I could keep going on and on and on with complaints. And the complaints, it doesn't matter what the market is. When the market was hot, it's tough to get my offer accepted. The homes are going too fast. I can't believe how fast prices are going up. If I sell my home, then what am I going to buy? Because those prices are high too. No matter what the market is, losers are going to find ways to complain, and winners are going to find silver linings to help them situate themselves better, position themselves better. So guys, if you need any help, feel free to reach out. If you're looking for other data, or you want to ask me to do a different video in the future, feel free to leave that in the comments, and I will always get back to you guys and either respond to your comments or do a video. I appreciate you joining me. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic Wednesday. Take